Adams is an author, a presidential appointee, a TV commentator, and most of all, a cancer survivor. He's on the live line now to talk about his book, Mar-a-Lago to Mars, President Trump's Great American Comeback. Love, 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 love. Hi, Nick.
Good morning, Fawn. It's great to be with you and your listeners.
I'm so glad you're still here. You survived stage 4 cancer. You are Superman, Nick.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind and sweet of you, Fawn, but I think I have to really attribute that more to God than me personally. I was very young. Most people wait a long time for a life-changing moment. Mine came at 16 months when I was diagnosed with a very rare form of childhood cancer called neuroblastoma, the cause of which remains unknown to this day. I had a long fight, 3.5 years, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and operations, but through the healing hands of God, the master physician, I defied the odds and lived. And it gave me a zest for life that has enabled me to really come and do some amazing, unbelievable things here in the United States. I've always loved America, and I try and maximize, because of that early adversity, Fawn, every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every month of every year.
And you're Australian, right?
Oh, well, now an American.
Yeah,
but I was certainly born and raised in Australia, yes.
Yes.
I like to joke that I was an American trapped inside an Australian body for the first years of my life. But I wasn't born in the United States, but I did come as quickly as I possibly could. Born down under, but destined to be on top.
Yes. Born down under and ended on the city on the hill. Good job. All right. So, Trump, there are deranged people out here who hate this man for the reasons the media puts out there that are just so side-mouthed and tongue-in-cheek. Sometimes he'll say a joke or post a picture or do something funny, and they take it literally and they run with it like he's the worst person on the planet. This is a good man. He's not perfect, but he's got his things that distract him, but this is a good man.
Fawn, an unbelievably good man. Look, I have been on the Trump train since the 16th of June, 2015, when he rode down the escalator with his beautiful wife, Melania.
That moment.
I've had an amazing moment in American history. And, we had General Washington at the founding of our country. We had President Lincoln at the rebirth of our nation. And we now have President Trump at the rejuvenation of our country. This really is a man that is a once-in-a-century type figure, and we've got to squeeze this lemon as much as we possibly can to get as much juice out of it as possible. I've gotten to know the president personally. I have a great relationship with him. I was in the Oval Office on the 14th of March this year, and I can tell you that he is a man that is grateful, loyal, patriotic beyond anything you can imagine. And that's why I wrote the book, Fawn. Mm-hmm. I wrote the book From Mar-a-Lago to Mars because whenever everyone writes about President Trump, they're either too stupid to understand him, quite frankly, or they're writing it from a place of jealousy and envy. Mm-hmm. I wrote this because I think the lessons that there's a Donald Trump in all of us. The lessons that we can learn from his unique art of war that he applied to see him through all the adversity that he overcame, all the crises. I mean, just think about it, Fawn. This is a man who was censored, deplatformed, impeached twice, arrested, sued, indicted, and they tried to kill him twice, and that's the only two that we know of.
Yeah.
And yet, throughout it all, it has never, ever, even momentarily deterred his willingness to fight for the American people, to fight for the people that have been ignored and abandoned by America's political elite for so long. And so I find him inspiring. I can tell you that he is out to leave a legacy. He's doing unbelievable things. But if you want a manual on how to win in life, if you want a manual to be the man in the arena, like Donald Trump, then From Mar-a-Lago to Mars, my new book, it's the one that you need to order and read.
Yeah. Where is it available?
It's available in Amazon right now. And you can also go where all great books are sold.
All right. So, in Australia, they don't really like Trump very much, but you were sold on him since 2015. So, what is it
Actually,
about him?
yeah, actually before, Fawn, to be honest with you, my best friend Sanjay in Australia gave me a copy of The Art of the Deal when we were 13 years old. And I write about this in the book. And I was hooked on Donald Trump really from that moment. And I was traveling in the United States. I was a political commentator and an author, and I actually knew about half a dozen, six of the people that were running for the Republican nomination in 2015. And Ted Cruz, I was good friends with. Governor Perry had appointed me an honorary Texan. Dr. Ben Carson had blurred my book. I was a regular on Mike Huckabee's then weekly national radio show. But I'd never met Donald Trump. But because I'd read his book, because I'd seen him obviously on The Apprentice, and because I just liked the vibe that he was giving, I decided impulsively, despite those connections, to endorse President Trump straight out of the gate. And what I liked about him was that he embodies the American spirit. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that colours outside of the line. He's a fighter, Fawn. He's someone that is unapologetically an individual. He doesn't mind not conforming. And that's why people in Australia might not like him, and Canada and those other places, because they're countries where unless you do conform, unless you do go along to get along, unless you are prepared to kiss butt rather than kick it, you don't get ahead. Mm-hmm. And President Trump is a butt kicker. He is someone that never apologizes, never retreats, never surrenders. I mean, think about how easy it would have been for him at some point to back away in the last 4 years about his claims that the 2020 election was rigged. He never, ever did. To this day, he maintains that it was because he believes it. I happen to believe it as well.
I do too.
But the point is that it would have been so much more expedient for him to simply back away from that or other things that he has said in order to ease the pressure that was being applied on him through the judicial proceedings that, quite frankly, would make Mao and Stalin blush.
Yeah. And, everybody says, oh, Donald Trump's the first president to do that. Hillary Clinton's still whining about losing. Al Gore is still whining about losing. All they do is what Stacey Abrams is whining about losing. When the left does it, it's because someone cheated. But when the right complains about it, they're deranged. So it's a double standard we're never going to outlive. But in your book, what I loved the most, he says stuff like, I'm going to be president of the world. He does that just to get people's goats. He's not serious. But his sense of humor is often mistook by the news media, and they run with it like that's a claim he's made and he's going to be a king. And then we have protests with a bunch of college-age idiots and signs saying honk if you hate Trump and stuff like that. It's just dumb.
Absolutely. Look, I find his jokes to be
hilarious,
timed perfectly and timeless for him. Mm-hmm. He is so funny. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met. His comedic timing is amazing. And not only that, one of the reasons the left, Fawn, are so dangerous, and I write about this in From Mar-a-Lago to Mars, my latest book. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that the left are so dangerous is that they are completely and entirely bereft of humour. They don't understand the crucial nature of humour in order to keep your adversaries, your foes, closer, and the role it plays in diplomacy. And that's why President Trump is the greatest president we've ever had.
He really is. I mean, I thought the Gipper was the one, but I think Trump might have outdone him a little bit. Ronald Reagan was just so smooth and charismatic. Trump just doesn't give a crap. He says what he says. He means what he says. He goes with it. If he's joking, you take it wrong. He's like blowing you off. They're trying to connect him to all sorts of nefarious people to try to ruin him. But in your book, in Chapter 11, The Greatest Mugshot of All Time, is that not truly the greatest mugshot of all time?
It is truly the greatest mugshot of all time, and the best part is, Fawn, that he decided to replicate it for his official photograph.
I know.
As the 47th president. There's very little difference. And can I just say, I mean, it just shows you what the left sows. I mean, at the time when that mugshot came out, it was the most iconic photograph in American history, only to be outdone 8 months or 10 months later in June in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a blood-soaked President Trump leapt up off the floor according to his instincts, contrary to his protector's wishes, and raised his fist in the air in a Patrick Henry-style moment, said, "Give me liberty or give me death," when he said to us, "Fight, fight, fight."
Yep. That moment, I think of that moment a little too often, I think. So it's very, very much something that I think in history is going to be seen as him being one of the bravest presidents we've ever had, because most of them hide and get in the car and lay under their people, but not him. He wants people to see, I'm okay and I'm still here and you didn't get me and I'm not going anywhere.
If there is one word that describes President Trump, it's courage. Mm-hmm. The man has courage, and linked to courage is devotion, linked to courage is stoicism, linked to courage are all of these virtues, gratitude, positive thinking. I mean, this is a man we can't forget. His first marriage was officiated by Norman Vincent Peale. I mean, President Trump is a big proponent of positive thinking, of putting it out there to the universe. And I write about his very unique, what I call art of war, and how we can apply it in our own lives. From Mar-a-Lago to Mars, the President Trump's Great American Comeback, my latest book.
Yeah. So everybody, if you can get a copy of this book, there's some tongue in cheek, but it's most of all just the way that he sees Trump, the man of tradition, and a man who is of great faith, whether they like to mock him of that or not. He goes to church. They call it a photo op. Biden goes to church and says abortion is health care, and they think it's the greatest thing that ever happened. So we have a man in the White House who took a pay cut in order to be there. Because he was tired of watching America get dragged down the road with its tail between its legs and our economy fall into the crapper. He said, I got to do it.
That's exactly right. Yes, exactly right. He saw that we were losing that which made us great. And when he first came out and said, "Make America Great Again," Fawn, he was doing the opposite of what most politicians do. Mm-hmm. He was being honest with us.
Yep.
And by leaving his business empire behind, by leaving his career as a beloved entertainer behind, by leaving a good and happy life behind, he took it upon himself to push back against the decline that, quite frankly, a lot of us felt was inevitable. And for that, all of us owe President Trump a tremendous debt of gratitude. And as far as the left and their double standards and hypocrisy is concerned, Fawn, they can go pound sand, they can jump in the lake, and they can get bent.
Yeah, pretty much all of those things, and a couple more we can't say because of FCC regulations. So,
God bless you, Fawn.
Yeah, great books. Love you, Nick Adams. From Mar-a-Lago to Mars, President Trump's Great American Comeback. If you want a copy, you can get it on Amazon or where great books are sold. Nick, I'm so glad you made it through cancer. Keep fighting the good fight. I'll keep fighting it from this side, and long live King Trump.
Fawn, you're an absolute patriot.
Thank you, man.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.